From the best I can remember, we were, I believe, 21-2 that year. I know we won 20 games in a row in the Frontier League. Jamie Arndale was our star pitcher. She threw, I believe it was 5 no-hitters. Christy Falver played second base and pitched some, and Nika Calderon played center field, and she pitched some also. But Jamie was the league MVP. I remember we beat Calabasas for the league championship. Tina Alverdi hit a home run in the last inning for our victory. A bunch of the girls made all-league and second team and honorable mention. I remember for sure that Jamie, Christy, and Tina made first team, and I might have been one other, I can't remember for sure. Also, their junior year, they were 19-3. They lost to Lorena twice. They got beaten extra innings by them, and then they ended up beating us, so they won the championship. But the girls, those 2 years, won 40 games in 2 years. They were the greatest bunch of girls I ever coached. They had great attitudes. Some didn't start that were good because we had such good talent. Not one girl or parent complained to me, but I could understand if they did because some of their kids didn't get to play. Their senior year, after winning 2 games against Bishop, we went up there and played them in the quarterfinals and got beat. I don't know if the long trip had anything to do with it for an excuse, but anyhow, we had beat them twice before. The players, Jamie Arndale, Tina Alverdi, Christy Falvers, Danielle Steins, Corey Galvan, Carrie Cohn, Nika Calderon, Leslie Mosley, Kristen Krager, Monica Diaz, Sunshine Alcazar, Amanda Munoz, Brittany Wynn, Claudia Carrillo, Danielle Torres, Corey Martinez, and Alice Escoval. If I left anyone out, I'm sorry. Sal Calderon helped me coach that year, and he was great at helping me coach. He helped so much. He would use his money to buy him stuff. He had a plumbing business. And also Jamie's dad, Jim Arndale, worked with Jamie a lot and really helped her in pitching and probably made me look good. He probably worked with her better than I did. That was one of the greatest bunch of team. They played together so much. We'd even say a prayer together sometimes together and get everything together. And they were just a great bunch. Like I say, they never complained. I had 17 girls, only 9 could play. They could have sat over there mumbling in the dugout and complained. Their parents could have got mad. Everybody was so good about it. I think they understood that we had a good team. The good part was we'd get ahead a lot of times so I could play the other girls. Well, I just think I was privileged to have such a talented bunch, and if you don't have the talent, you're not going to win. There's so many coaches that do so great, and you see they go to another school and they're just an average coach. And in this case, I was gifted with such talent that Joe Woods could have won with them, or anybody. They were just a good bunch to be coaching with and stuff. Well, the Fillmore softball team of 92, 93 will always be in my memory. They were such a great bunch of girls, never complained, worked hard all the time. It was so easy to coach them. And like I say, they make you look good because they're so good, even though the talent's there. But I'll never forget them. They'll always be in my heart. And I was just privileged enough to be there at the right time on this.
Hi, I'm Monica Sanchez, and I went to Fillmore High from 1989 to 1993. My sport is softball.
I'm Nika Underwood, and I went to Fillmore from 1990 to 94, and my sport is softball.
Hi, I'm Jamie Latshaw. I went to Fillmore High School from 1989 to 1993, and my sport was softball.
Hi, I'm Christy Osegueta. I went to Fillmore High School from 1989 to 1993, and my sport is softball.
Winning team, we had a great record. What I remember most about the 92-93 season was the camaraderie and the bond between all of us. We started out together playing softball from a very early age. We played what was called Bobby Sox back then, and we grew up together. Our kids play together now, and I think that we just had each other's backs. We always knew that no matter what, we had each other's backs, and we were successful because of that reason.
As far as the most memorable game, I think I have a few of them, actually. We played some really tough teams. We battled really tough teams, and we're a small town, and I think what was neat is we were all on the first Bobby Sox team when all this started. We kind of grew up together, came up, and I remember beating Calabasas. That was a huge game. And we were beating really big schools, and we were in the paper a lot. So I think I just remember a lot of games and how well we did. It just made us feel, I think the more we would win, I think the more we wanted to keep going, and we had fun, I think was the main thing. I think that's why we did so well. We were all good friends. I loved it. Yeah, I think we all just enjoyed it. We didn't dread it, we enjoyed it. I think that was the main thing.
I think that being a part of a team in any sport, but mainly our team because we were so close-knit, I think that it transferred into real life because we had each other's backs. We were all part of a team. It didn't matter who got the most hits. It didn't matter who got the most strikeouts. It didn't matter if someone didn't touch the ball at all. We were all part of a team.
And we were all good friends at the same time. It was always a fun time playing together.
I feel like it just gave us a boost of confidence knowing that we could beat anyone we set our minds to. We played hard together, we worked hard, and we had fun doing it, so it made it a lot easier. It wasn't so serious all the time.
I remember thinking too, I was thinking about it driving over here, on most of the players on the team, we were all in all-stars together, probably from 3rd, 4th grade on. And we had good memories of that, and then to take it into high school, I think we just blended well as a team because we'd played together so long.
Yeah, we all have our own families now, and our kids are growing up together, and it's just really cool to have that bond for life.
I remember sitting in class and baseball players were always saying, well, who hit it yesterday and what's your record again? So it was kind of neat that we had that. We were good, So I think what I had the privilege of playing for amazing coaches, and one of them happened to be my dad. So that was something that's neat. And I think, he always taught me that what happens in softball is kind of like life. So, you're going to have good games and bad games, and that's life. You keep going, and I think it just builds character, and I think that's something that I really learned. And and I've kind of taken that with me everywhere. You can't always dwell on the bad games. You got to remember all the good ones too. So I think that's something in life that I've always carried with me. And I also, Sal was the assistant coach. He was great. He was there since Bobby Sox, coaching me, and very generous. And I always remembered that about how blessed we were to have 2 great coaches. I think that was a part of our success.
I think Mr. Favre and Sal Calderon really taught us a lot of valuable life lessons. Mr. Favre taught us that being a part of a team was being a part of something bigger than yourself. And I think that, all the practice and repetition we went through in practices translated to games. I think we were so successful in games because of all the perfection that he demanded in practice. And doing that over and over made it second nature in games. And Sal Calderon and his wife Candy both were extremely generous, did so much for our team. Candy was a scorekeeper, and Sal was always there for us since we were growing up in Bobby Sox. And I think having coaches like that is what it's all about.
It was nice to play for a coach like Mr. Favre, who knew the game and could teach us all these little things about it that you didn't know beforehand. So it was an honor to play for him, and he was just such a good man, both on and off the field. And it was also great I feel very lucky to have had. I feel very blessed that I was able to play in a sport and have my dad be there all the time, and both my parents were involved. So it was a very nice experience for me. I was very lucky.
What I learned from playing softball with these group of girls was, just like Jamie said, we always, didn't matter how many innings we played, what we did on the team, what position we played, we all knew that when we went in, we were doing what we had to do, and we could all depend on each other.
Thank you, Fillmore High School.
One thing I always remembered about Mr. Mossberger, he was always there in my life. When I was 5 years old, I was best friends with his son, Eric. And his wife used to watch us after school, and we grew up together. And he was an incredible teacher in the agriculture here. So it was really easy for me to, the first one to go out is to find somebody that was as dedicated to Fillmore High School than anybody else was, Mr. Dick Mossberger. So it's a great honor for him this year, and a great honor for me to be able to see him get the Charles Mosley Special Recognition Award.
Dick Mossberger graduated from Fillmore High School in 1947, and during those years at Fillmore High School, I played sports. I grew up here in Fillmore, and went to Fillmore High School from 1941 to 1947, and I was interested in sports all the years. Tried to play sports, but I was too small.
Talk to me.
And because back then the athletics were determined by ranking of exponents. You were a Class A, a Class B, or Class C, depending on how old you were, how big you were, and what grade you were in. And as a freshman and sophomore, I was in the C bracket, and so played C sports, and then began playing B sports as a junior and senior. And I ran track. I shouldn't say ran, because I ran one race and figured out that was not the way I wanted to compete. So I went to the field events and high jumped and pole vaulted. I ran my first race because two of my friends ran distance races, and I thought that can't be too bad. I'm not fast, so I'll try the 660. And I thought, well, I was out for basketball, I was in pretty good shape. But after about the first 440, I figured this is not for me. So I looked around for other events and decided the field events were much better suited to me. So I was out for high jump and the pole vault, and I won the B championship my junior and senior year, the Ventura County Championship. After I graduated from Fillmore High, I went to Cal Poly San Dimas, and while I was there, I got interested in track again, and I played basketball the first year, and then decided if I was going to continue my college education, I was going to have to stop that. But I did participate in track in the high jump and the pole vault, and I won the Antelope Valley Invitational in the high jump, and also competed in the pole vault. When I was finished at Cal Poly, I was asked by Uncle Sam to come join him in 1952, and I was stationed at Fort Ord for the full time. And while I was there, I played on the battalion softball team, which won the 6th Army tournament at the Presidio in San Francisco. In Thailand, there was an educational program set up by Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, and we went over to Thailand for 2 years, took my family, and there were 5 families involved, and we were there to help the Thai teachers use the hands-on approach that Cal Poly is so well noted for. And it was a wonderful experience for everybody, but it really was about a 2-year vacation, because we had time to visit the country, but we spent a lot of time in the Bay of Thailand. Well, sports have always been important to me all the way from junior high up through high school. And even after I left high school, I was continued in sports. And when I came back to Fillmore in 1962, I wanted to participate as much as I can, and I did that by officiating at track meets, and I timed wrestling matches, and did everything I could. And then when the opportunity to be a part of this Hall of Fame, I was very pleased to be a part of it. Yeah, I always felt it was an honor to compete for Fillmore, because we always did very well back there in the 40s competing against the county teams. And I've been honored to be a part of this Hall of Fame to carry on the tradition of Fillmore High School athletics.
Escoto's high school, he still has 2 records here at Fillmore. 1968 relay team, and in the 660, he still has the record for that that he set. Well, I used to teach driver training. We'd go out to Piru, and I seen him many, many times running out there and like in the mountains and everywhere. And like I say, I know one time he ran from his house here in Fillmore over to Moore Park College and sat around there a couple hours, and then had to run from the college over to Olson Road and back with the team. And that's just kind of dedicated he was. He just was, he wasn't gifted with tremendous skills, I don't think. It was just hard work and dedication. Well, he went over to Moore Park College and ran over there. He was on their cross-country team, which was a runner-up in the state. He was one of their top 5 runners. He did very well over there. He ran cross-country here at Fillmore and did real well also. And then he went on to Chico State and ran the 400 hurdles over there and set a Chico State record. And he also ran relay team over there too and did very well. He was on my basketball team. He was second string, but he was so much better conditioned than anybody on the team. Gil worked for William L. Morris here in town for, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 years. I always bought my cars off him. I always knew I could trust him. He would give me the better deals, would show me the sheet, and he wasn't really a salesman, so he would give me good deals. And he was just always, he's called me 3 or 4 times since I had cancer to see how I'm doing. He called me the other day and said, if you ever need a ride to the doctor, or if you need anything, just call me, I'm always around. And he's just that type of guy. He's a good friend, a good person. He'd do anything for anybody, and I just really think a lot of him. Well, I think this is background and discipline, going through sports and all the hard work made him the man he is today.
Hi, my name is Gil Escoto, and I attended Fillmore High School from 64 to 68. And the sports was cross country, track, and basketball, 1 year of basketball. The first day of my freshman year, I wanted to play football until somebody told me that it was too late. They had Hell Week prior, so I couldn't go out for football. So I ended up hearing the bulletin in my first period class, those that are interested in cross country report to the football field. And that's where I came out. Nobody told me to go out. I just went out and that was it. My first coach, Gordon Stewart, Coach Stewart, he was my freshman and sophomore coach in track and cross country. He left and went on to Boyne, I believe. And then Coach Fulver. I knew Coach Fulver. He coached the varsity basketball. When I made the CIF when I went to the CIF finals, my sophomore year, Coach Stewart had a passenger with him. It was Coach Fulver. I'd never had been with a teacher outside of a classroom, and it was him. And he was the funniest guy, and I respect him tremendously, and one good person. Yeah, I was fortunate enough my sophomore year, the 660 run. Hard to believe that on this track behind me here, it's a lap and a half, and I did it in 1:24, I believe. That still stands. The mile relay team consisted of Savoy Foster, Tony Lopez, Jimmy Smith, and I. It's still there, and they're still there because they don't run those anymore. Now it's the 400 meters, I guess, or whatever. I guess the first race that I had my freshman year was against Antelope Valley here, and I got second place. That same year, our team went to Mount Sac, and we placed, I was second, Danny Rodriguez was third, Frank Carrera was fourth, Tim Brothers was ninth, and I think Tom Wilson was 12th. And we held the lowest point total, I think, for about 15 years, and the total time combined, we held it too at Mount Sac, and we were freshmen, and that was one of the great ones. Right. I mean, there's people that run down and I guess out in the city on pavement, blacktop, whatever. Here, we got orchards, we got mountains that we can run up into. Those that have run for Fillmore, there's the hump. And everybody knows about the hump over the hill. I ran from Los Serenos to Moore Park Junior College. I ran that. Don't ask me why. I can't figure that one out to this day, but I ran it, and then when I got there, I ended up running track practice from the college to Olson Road on 23. To Santa Paula, to Piru, Padelford's Hill. Yeah, it was just something about being out by yourself and running it. Yes, I ended up attending Moore Park Junior College. I was running, so they wanted me to run for them. So we placed second in the state my sophomore year, second in the Southern Cal Finals too. Then I went on to Chico State and ran the 440, the mile relay I should say, and the intermediate hurdles. At that time, I set a school record for the intermediate hurdles, and I believe that was against Humboldt State, which has been broken since then, I'm sure. But I was fortunate enough, coming to Fillmore High School freshman year, didn't know anybody. I mean, I knew people, but I started running. And when I ran and you started winning, people started to recognize you. Teachers would come out, and it built my confidence up. Walk down the hallways, and the teachers, the students would ask you, how'd you do? Where's the meet this week? And it just got me to get along with people and met many people in my lifetime that have been great, so. I'd like to thank Fillmore High School. I mean, I'm a flash for life, and to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, I never would have imagined it. I know what I did, but it feels great, and I'm glad. To the coaches, Gordon Stewart, Mr. Falver especially, I've known him for a long time, and a great person. To my wife, Cindy, thank you for being there. She saw many races. So I thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Chris Hobson played football for the high school, Fillmore High School, and for me in the early 1970s. And he was a outstanding running back. And at the time, he set several school records. And he was a very, very good student. And I think he was class president on several freshman year, maybe your sophomore year, and was an outstanding athlete for Fillmore High School. We played some very tough teams. San Ynez we beat, and Chris was probably the star of that. And we got into the playoffs. Before the championship in the CIF, Chris tore some ligaments in his ankle, and I'll never forget, he wanted to play so bad that he went to the doctors, and they built his heel up, so he was running on his right foot on his toes. And he went out there and played, and there's not many athletes anymore that will play hurt like he played hurt. He was at about, I'm just guessing, maybe 35 or 40%, but he gave all he had. Chris was an excellent athlete, football, baseball. In his younger high school years, he played a little basketball, but outstanding character, and as I remember it, a leader in the classroom, which was important, and also on the athletic fields, which was important. And later on, he went to college and became a successful young man, and we in the teaching profession would like to believe that we contributed a little bit to his achievements. And I'm very, very proud of him.
My name is Chris Hobson. I attended Fillmore High School in 1971 to 74, graduated. I played football, baseball, and basketball. I enjoyed myself immensely, and it's nice to be back, and it's very special that the people put on the program, the Sports Hall of Fame, and all the time they put into it. I'm very appreciative of that. I didn't think much of Hell Week, quite frankly. It was tough. What I recall of Hell Week is getting up early in the morning, running a lot, getting in conditioning, which I knew was important for the overall season, but coming back in the next morning and later on in the day with your t-shirts smelling of ammonia from sweating and never drying out for 2 weeks was not fun. However, I did appreciate being around the guys and the camaraderie, and that was a fun part of it for sure. I think discipline was an important factor in sports, especially teamwork. Teamwork was very important. The coaches very much promoted, obviously, the teamwork. We also, it was fun. I think Coach Dempsey, Coach Eklund, they wanted also the kids to have fun, which I appreciated. And as I said, I was always pretty starved for sports action when I was younger. And so I was more than happy to spend time practicing, and obviously playing the games was fantastic. Okay. I would say that the discipline part of it, the sacrifice part of it, really taught you some important lessons for later in life that you can carry through, and quite frankly led to personally a lot of the success I've had later in life that you can pass on to your children. And yeah, I think it was a very important factor. Sports played an important role in my life throughout. It's a wonderful memories that having played sports here at Fillmore, I very much appreciate all the people involved in putting it. I know it takes a lot of time and effort in putting this together, which I thank them. The other inductees, mostly it's about camaraderie, quite frankly. Obviously, in later years, we all move on, but we still retain the memories of having competed, having been around the guys, and that's really what it's all about for me. It's an honor to be with my fellow inductees this year, and would strive to have everyone else participate as much as possible in this event and in coming years. Once again, I'm very appreciative.
Terry Lone was one of the two best pitchers I ever had at Fillmore. I think her and Jamie Arndale were the two dominant pitchers I had. And she worked very hard at it, took some lessons. Her dad, Jess, worked with her a lot and had probably more to do with her success than I did. But she just really worked hard, was a strong girl, could hit, could pitch, and a pleasure to have on the team.
Hi, my name is Terry Leon. I graduated in 1987. I attended Fillmore High, and I played softball, varsity softball. What inspired me to try out was my father. My father worked with us kids as we were growing up, and I loved to play sports. I just started pitching, and I had speed, and then one thing led to another, and I just kept with it. I liked to pitch, and I was pretty natural at it. My dad gave me some pointers. He gave me lots of advice. Practice makes perfect, so I worked hard at it, and I was good. I played basketball too. Softball was my main sport, so yeah, I played on a lot of traveling teams. I played with some girls from Santa Paula, Lizzie Valdez, Vivian Noriega. Rosa Jimenez was also an inspiring pitcher I looked up to. We had fun. We had fun traveling. I just want to thank my father and my mother. They never missed a practice or a game. My dad's been very supportive of me. Fortunately, I was lucky to have a mom and dad like that.
My name is Matt Suttle. I am a longtime coach and a PE teacher here at Fillmore High School, and I have the privilege of speaking to Tim Pena, inducting him into the Hall of Fame. Tim was a player for me back in the days. He played baseball and he played football, and I had the privilege of coaching him in both those sports. And what I remember most about Tim is his hard work, his dedication to not only the sport but the team, and just bringing it every day and giving it everything he had. And one of the stories I remember, I don't remember games, I don't remember stats, all that stuff. I've never been that type of coach where after the game I forget everything. But the story that sticks out in my mind with Tim is when he was thinking of going to college and got accepted to Ohio Wesleyan, choose between football and baseball because he could have played either one. And in my opinion, I thought he should try to play both. And I remember standing in the stairwell below the locker or the weight room and talking to him about that and saying, why not try both? I mean, the worst they can say is no. And unfortunately for me, he decided the football route, not the baseball route. I'm more of a baseball guy, but he chose to play football there and had a good career. But the thing once again that sticks out the most for me is his work ethic. Susan and Max did a great job of raising him right and working hard, and just the polite, courteous athlete he was to coaches, but the fire he had on the field. And that's what I remember most about Tim. They had a choice of who they would like to speak on their behalf, and Tim asked if I would. So, that means a lot to me, an athlete from, long ago that, still felt strong enough for me to induct him into the Hall of Fame. Just shows the type of person he is, and, he's just, he was one of my top athletes that I've had, and just a great all-around person.
Is it an honor?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's an honor to induct him into the Hall of Fame at this high school.
My name is Tim Pena. I went to school here from 1992 to 1996, and I played football and baseball, a little bit of wrestling, but football and baseball were my main sports. I can remember playing t-ball since as far back as I can remember. I played every year through first, second grade, elementary school, the whole works. And my first day of Fillmore High School baseball was my freshman year. The first day of Fillmore High School baseball, I showed up and I can remember Coach Suttle. And the thing that stood out most about Coach Suttle was his calm, serious demeanor. Coach Suttle was great. He instilled teamwork, dedication, and hard work into all of us. Coach Suttle instilled in all of us that we have to practice like we play, which meant that we practiced hard and we played hard. I enjoyed playing baseball very much. Baseball's my favorite sport. I remember Raiders football when I was young. I was a husky kid, so I had to play with the older kids, and that made me better. It prepared me for my first day of football here at Fillmore High School and playing with not only freshmen but sophomores as well. Coach Wilbur, one of my most memorable moments or speeches Coach Wilbur gave us was a speech where he said, it's not about what happens to you, but it's about how you react to what happens to you. And that still sticks with me today. In fact, I applied that to athletics when I was in high school, and I still apply that to my life today. The first day I got to wear the jersey with the number 63 on it, I was very proud. My dad graduated that other school about 9 miles west of Fillmore. In 1963, my brother wore the number 63 jersey for Fillmore High School. I wore the number 63 jersey, and a couple of my nephews that are younger than me have worn that number 63 jersey as well. One day, a few teammates and I, during my senior year of football, piled in my car and went to St. Bonaventure High School to spy on their football team during a practice. And I was very proud when I showed up because I saw number 63 on all their hitting bags. It was great. Some of the proudest times of my life were on the football field or the baseball field. And today, I'm proud to be here with my wife, Beatrice, my baby girl number 1, Sophia Marie, baby girl number 2, Alexis Ann, and baby girl number 3, Victoria Rose. And I'm absolutely honored to be here today to accept being inducted into the Fillmore High School Hall of Fame.
One thing I could say about Mario, again, also is that not only with his leadership qualities that he had, he was, I remember the first day that I started coaching here, and Mario was a junior, and I went looking for that one guy, that one person that I knew that I could rely on, the guy that had the fire in his eye and the ability to go out and lead, and it was the very first year it was Mario de la Pedra. He was just a great athlete, and I developed an instant bond with him. And I know I embarrassed him his senior year when he got the MVP, and I told the crowd that I loved him, and it's always been that way with me and Mario. He's just one of those great kids that you're just so fortunate to be able to coach and to have a relationship even 10 years later. He's just a great young man. It was my privilege to coach him.
My name is Mario de la Piedra. I graduated in the class of 2005, and I played Fillmore High School football. My name is Mario de la Piedra. I went to Fillmore High School in 2002 to 2005, and I played football. So I started playing football in 1995. I was actually a black belt in karate, and karate was actually my sport. But I saw an NFL football team play on the television and just fell in love with the sport and told my dad, hey, I want to try giving this football thing a go. So first day of football, they gave me the jersey number 67. I played with number 67 my entire career and played for 12 seasons. Fillmore, number 67, college number 67, all the way from when I was a Bantam or a little kid at 7 years old, I was number 67. It's always been kind of a special number to me. First day coming out into JV year. See, in Fillmore, you grow up with the same guys. You're growing up, you're playing football ever since you were a little kid. So Hell Week wasn't as big a shock to me, but it was more having the ability to play at Fillmore High School. You know, you grow up as a kid and I kind of idolized those guys. And you know, for me, it was guys like Freddie Ponce and Tommy McCary. And I remember those guys and having the ability to play with them. I remember that kind of giving me chills and kind of coming to that next level and knowing that if I'm going to make it past Fillmore High School, I got to do good here. And that's when I really started getting serious about football. You know, I had a special relationship with my coaches. My coaches actually started with me when I was in JV, when I was in 9th grade. And it was the same head coach, Coach Matt Dan. There was Art Sosa, Coach Ron Bricker. They had me from the very beginning. I went to sophomore, junior, senior year. They actually went up to varsity. I was on varsity my sophomore year, and they came up with me. And they ended up being my coaches through the entire time. And they teach you a lot. I mean, at Fillmore, it's such a small school that there weren't a lot of players behind me. So having that support system, especially from the coaches, and being able to play not only both ways but special teams and never get off the field was always great experience, but also great to have that support system of the coaches always right behind you, giving you that support. Every time we got injured or got a little scratch or something, you would always hear Coach Woods, well, just spit on it. And you did. You had to be tough playing at Fillmore. I mean, you never got off the field, so a lot of the starters would just have to kind of suck it up and go through adversity that way. And so it's funny, even to this day, when something's kind of on top of me or something's holding me down, I always think in my head, just spit on it and move on. So that's always been something I've remembered and always something they've always said to me. That's not the only thing that's stuck with me. At Fillmore High School, you learn to build relationships, friendships that will last a lifetime. To this day, I'm still hanging out with some of the same guys that I played football with. It's become a brotherhood. I do consider those guys my brothers. They're at my wedding. They'll probably be there for me throughout my entire life. And anything that I do, I know they'll have my back. And I think that's a special thing about playing at Fillmore is regardless of where you go in life, you can always resort back to those friendships. And that time that you had with them and that you played with them, it just creates such a strong bond. And to have that is wonderful. To be inducted in the Hall of Fame today means so much. I remember when I got nominated, or when I got the call, it brought back so many memories, and it's just such an honor, and you're really humbled by it. Coach Wood was telling me that there was 130 or so inductees, and to be a part of that class, it's pretty amazing. I'm really honored that I could represent not only the class of 2005, but Fillmore High School. I will be forever grateful for my experience at Fillmore High. It teaches you everything that you use today throughout your daily life. I've been fortunate enough to create my own business. I've been fortunate enough to meet some pretty important and prestigious people. And I think it just all kind of stems from the work ethic you learn, not only in high school, but playing high school football. It was just an amazing experience that I'll never forget. And I owe it all to Fillmore High. The people who I want to thank who made such an important impact in my life are obviously my parents, my coaches, my teammates, the people who had my back the entire way. But most importantly, my wife, Crystal. She was my high school sweetheart. We dated 13 years before we got married, and I'm so glad to call her my wife now, and I'm glad she was there the entire time with me by my side.
My name's Chris Goodenough. I went to Fillmore High from 92 to 96. I played football, basketball, baseball. I'm a Hall of Fame inductee in the first class. My brother, he's 10 years younger than I was, so since he was a little kid, we were always throwing the ball around, and got a chance to help him in high school, coached and assisted a little bit with him. But we were always working on the side, throwing and whatnot. And so I was able to teach him, how to throw a little bit, and he picked up a lot from me, but, he had a whole nother level of talent when it came to his fastball. You don't teach that. He, kind of always had a special athletic ability. We competed as brothers all the time. And, I think he picked up from me that, in order to be really good at something, you kind of have to hone in and focus in on one sport. You could see, the velocity just start to pick up year after year. And, pretty soon he was throwing 90s and, striking people out left and right and, really excelling. One game in particular, he was pitching extremely well, striking people out, mowing down people one after the next. And pretty soon, it was getting to the 5th and 6th inning and nobody had been on base. And, I was aware of it and, kind of extra nervous for him, hoping that he'd be able to finish it off. And, when it finally came time and he got that last guy out, I was jumping and screaming up and down, and come to find out, he didn't even know he had a perfect game going. So I think it made it a little even more special that afterwards we were able to share and talk about it.
Does he deserve this?
Absolutely, absolutely. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for all of his accomplishments in baseball and even more so other stuff. So he's one of my favorite people in the world. Same time, and he got that last guy out, I was jumping and...
I'm David Goodenough. I played sports here from 2002 to 2005, specifically focused on baseball. So growing up, trying out for different teams, I always felt like it was kind of an easy situation for me because it's playing at home with my older siblings. It was always like a higher level of competition, so whenever I got a chance to play with people my own age, it almost felt like a step back. So I got to be a little ahead of the curve. There was a situation in Little League where I was pitching and I felt like I was doing pretty good, and got to the end of the game and we had our little snacks or whatever, and the coach came up to me and handed me a baseball and said, "Here's the game ball." And I was like, "Oh, what's this for?" And he said, "Oh, you threw a no-hitter." I was like, "Oh, I had no idea." So if that had happened later on in my career, I'd probably had a little better idea what was going on. But in that situation, it was just thought I was doing good and went along with it. So in high school, when I started to get a little more serious with baseball, the coaches really helped me to practice hard and work on my different pitches and hitting. I was never really a good hitter until my junior year of high school. I finally put it together with the size and the power. So the different coaches helped me along the way to really focus on being more of an athlete and getting in shape. So one of the high points of my high school career was junior year. I was privileged enough to win the league MVP award, and it came as a shock to me. I actually found out a few days prior from my aunt on the phone. She had congratulated me on winning the MVP award, and I had no idea what she was talking about, but I figured it out in the days to come. So it was a pretty neat experience. I couldn't have done it without our team. Everybody was supporting us, and it was a really fun year. I had a lot of fun and good memories. So throughout high school and even my youth and college career even, my oldest brother Chris, who's also in the Hall of Fame, kind of laid the footwork for me and showed me the right ways to go about things, and really emphasized the mental part of the game to me along with the physical. I felt like I always had him beat on the physical side, but he always had me on the mental side. So he tried to help me hone those skills in so I could be a better pitcher on the field. So, well, being in the Hall of Fame, it wasn't something I really ever even thought about being in, but for me, it's just been an awesome process because it's given me time to reflect and really look back at some of the things I was able to accomplish and all the fun I was able to have throughout high school and the achievements I was able to have along the way. And it's really helped me to think about the support that I've had from my family and my mom and my brothers and my sister and just the whole family being there to support me. And then now my wife, in retrospect, helping me from this point forward. It's just been a cool situation to be able to reflect on all the different things. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame, it means a great deal because of all the different Hall of Famers that are already in the Hall of Fame. It's just so amazing to be compared and to be able to be alongside them. I got to see my brother's career and just to be able to say that I'm in there with him. And so I'm excited to be inducted into this Hall of Fame with all the recent additions and the people of the past that have laid the groundwork for all of us to be able to get in. And so I just want to say thanks for all the work and all the support that I've gotten from everyone along the way, and especially my brother and my family.
As president of the Fillmore High School Sports Hall of Fame, it is my honor to say congratulations to the class of 2015 for being inducted into the Fillmore High School Sports Hall of Fame.